We do have Susan Ferrecchio, chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner, on the line, and you think she's a little busy? Hello, Susan.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, good. Very busy day. I know, and I appreciate your time. So let me ask you, cut to the chase, as they say. Where do we go from here? The president today again, out there in the public, trashing Republicans. Harry Reid today again, out there in the public, trashing Republicans. Harry Reid that let's negotiate. Let's appoint negotiators from the House and the Senate and conference them. That said, let's negotiate. Let's appoint negotiators from the House and the Senate and conference them with the shutdown. Chuck Todd said they're hoping that the White House hopes the market takes a hit to pressure the Republicans. And Mark Halpern said the White House is counting on the media to pressure the Republicans. And Mark Halpern said the White House is counting on the media to.
First of all, as you said, the Senate voted to reject the House measure, and so now it's back in the House's side. And what they will do later today or early this evening is take up sort of mini spending bills that will fund certain parts of the government, including the national parks and parts of the Veterans Administration. And then they will pass those in the House, send them back over to the Senate, and these will be small bills, but they'll be clean bills with nothing attached to them. And that will pressure the Senate to vote for them and reopen these small parts of the government. Now, Senate Democrats say they don't like this. They call this faux spending bills because they're only funding parts of the government. They're leaving shuttered other parts of the government that Democrats and others think are essential. So there is a disagreement over it. The question is whether the Democrats will truly, vote against these or feel that if they did that, it would look politically disastrous for them because, again, they'd be voting to keep parts of the government afloat.
Right.
So it's a quandary for Democrats. They so far sound like they plan on rejecting these plans, but we have to watch this vote. I'm not entirely certain how they're going to vote on it right now. I didn't get a definitive answer.
All right. Now, what about though, Susan, the Republicans? What I call the Peter King wing of the Republican Party in the House, where there's about 7 of them, maybe a couple more today. I don't know. I think they need 17 to go ahead and buck the party and force a clean resolution to be voted on. So where are we with that so-called? And the media is portraying it, even though there's only 7 of them, as a civil war within the party. Where are we with that in the House?
Right now, that faction appears to be not growing, that everybody is fairly supportive of this latest proposal. That's what I'm hearing from the leadership folks. Now, I wasn't in the meeting that just ended. We're not allowed in there. We all just stand in the hallway after. And, I don't know how much traction Pete King's group is going to get. I know they got a handful of folks last night to vote with them. And now today, here's what's different today. Okay, here we are, the day one of this shutdown. Stock market is holding steady. I know the Democrats think that it will change in the coming days. Republicans are saying they're not so sure that the stock market is not change in the coming days. Republicans are saying they're not so sure that the stock market is not. That will influence how big this moderate faction gets and what the pushback is like. From what I'm hearing, it doesn't seem like they're a big enough group to stop moving forward tonight. Besides, it would look a little odd if they're voting against government funding bills that are clean.
Right. That's a different story. Right.
Forward,
yeah.
Okay. That's a hard message on that one. So I have to say it's early, but I would anticipate those bills will pass. They'll go over that Senate, and then you really got to tune in and listen on that one because that passed. They'll go over that Senate, and then you really got to tune in and listen on that one because I
agree with you more, Susan. We're up against a hard break.
Okay.
You're very informative. I know you're very busy. I really appreciate your time. We'll speak to you soon. Maybe we'll check in with you tomorrow.
All righty.
Thank you. Okay, Susan Ferrecchio, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, a man who has been there in the Health and Human Services Department under George Bush on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show. Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now, to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? Yeah. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If there is an anti-Obamacare candidate in the United States of America right now, it is my next guest, who we welcome back to the show. He is former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services under George W. Bush, who was busy, pushing free market solutions to healthcare problems. Certainly the complete diametrically opposed opinion to what's going on now. And we welcome in Ben Sasse, who is running for the U.S. Senate seat from the great state of Nebraska. Hello, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing well, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure to have you back, and I know you're doing well. Am I right? Almost $800,000 raised in just 8 weeks for your candidacy based on, well, you tell me what it's based on, but it can't hurt that you're running and you know, on against Obamacare, and you have served in HHS.
Yeah, we decided to get in this race 8 weeks ago, and we raised just over $800,000 in our first quarter. The people in Nebraska are really responding to a message of saying, let's actually do something to fix all that the government has broken in healthcare instead of breaking it worse, which is what Obamacare does.
Well, I mean, we got, I don't even know where to go on Obamacare, but let me just say, we played a soundbite earlier from Obama today, who talked about, there's glitches, but Apple just launched a new product a few weeks ago, and a few days later they had a glitch. Nobody talked about shutting that down. I mean, the analogy between an Apple product and this healthcare fiasco is it just shows, you got to know who's saying it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that the president really doesn't understand what the American system is about. Value is created by people and communities and small businesses and families and neighborhoods. Washington doesn't define value and create value. And when he draws an analogy between a government mandate that's fundamentally, unconstitutional in my view, that makes people buy a product as a condition of being a citizen for the first time in U.S. history, and he somehow equates that to the great innovation that Americans are building in Silicon Valley, it just shows that he doesn't understand the American system.
Well, also illusions of grandeur, in a sense, I guess.
Yeah, and if Apple, by the way, had their health exchanges go live on a day like this, and 6 states and the federal exchange come up with error messages, system not working, try back later.
Yeah, the stock would tank for a little bit, right?
Exactly. There'd be some accountability.
Yeah, well, there is no such thing as accountability. Talk about where you stand. I mean, I know what you feel about Obamacare, but talk about where you stand on what's going on in Washington right now. And, it seems like Ted Cruz has become this boogeyman, the media blaming everything blaming because they blame the Republicans in the House, but they blame everything the Republicans in the House are doing on Ted Cruz. Like, Ted Cruz is running the House. It's insane. But I know you're an admirer, as am I, of Ted Cruz and what he did with the filibuster and what he stands for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, an expert on legislative tactics. I'm a college president and a business guy who does turnaround stuff, and I'm running for office because I believe in America, and I believe in Americans. Not that we have the best bureaucrats, but we have the best people, and we believe in freedom. So there's a whole bunch of stuff about the insider games in Washington that I'm not really competent to talk about. But one of the things that I really do appreciate about what Senator Cruz has done is he has said that when these subsidy payments start flowing in January of next year, it's going to be really hard to get the America back that we inherited from our grandparents. And in that world, we need to be doing real and big stuff to wave the flag to make sure the American people understand what the media hasn't told them, which is that these health exchanges aren't going to work. And there will be data breaches, and there will be fraud. They've got all these sort of honor system ways that people can go on and describe to the IRS what sort of benefits they should get. And Senator Cruz is out there fighting the fight of saying, this isn't going to work, and this isn't a time for business as usual. Washington should slow down and have a big conversation about what this all means.
Now, I know they've put plans out there, but one thing I do fault the Republicans for is that they've always been horrific. Ever since I could remember, as long as I've been doing talk shows, they're horrific at getting their message out. Sometimes they do a better job than others, but overall they do a bad job. And what they should do, in my view, is because you keep hearing Republicans have no health care plan, there's no alternative, they just trash this one, they don't have they should come out with one piece of paper on one side and the 18,000 pages or 1,800 pages, whatever the heck it is, on the other side, and say, here, you like keeping your kids on their insurance till 26? Here it is. You like closing the donut hole? Here it is. You like no pre-existing conditions? Here it is. Like, make 10 or 5 to 10 things, say, here's what we're going to do, and we'll talk about the rest, and put it out there. But people don't know what their plan is. I don't know what their plan is.
Amen. My shorthand for saying that is the Democrats are the party of bad ideas, and the Republicans too often are the party of no ideas, and neither is good enough for America. The Republicans are better than the Democrats, but in a world where we don't put forward good, conservative, market-oriented principles that affirm freedom and affirm the ability of people to go and build that stuff, contra the president, the American people did build that. it looks like elections end up going to the Democrats' bad ideas. And the Republicans, there are many smart, hardworking, well-meaning members in both the House and Senate side. But you're right, the communication cluster in this party is such that nobody can understand what the Republican alternative is. And this isn't that tough. We've created portability in the pension space. It used to be that you had to get your pensions through one employer, and when you worked at that employer for your whole life, it worked out all right that you didn't have any portability because people weren't changing jobs. In this dynamic economy, kids who graduated from my college in May of this year, the demographers tell us they're going to change industries, not just jobs, but industries 3 times before they turn 30. They need to be able to take their pension with them, and that's what 401ks did. It isn't that hard to do the same thing of creating portability in health insurance without having the government have a bunch of bureaucrats that try to get between patients and doctors.
Right.
And Republicans can't talk about that.
No, and I know they do have plans out there. They might have even passed a few in the House, but I don't know what it is, and that's their fault. And one other thing that's their fault is that they're not right now fighting to defund Obamacare. They're just looking to make sure. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I need to sign up for the Obamacare thing. I think I just coughed. But anyway,
the NSA was listening to you.
Right, probably no. But anyway, but what they're doing is all they're fighting for right now is to delay it for a year and to make sure that the Congress and their staffers pay the same premiums that everybody else does. Put the president and Judge Roberts and everybody in the plan that they want to live by. So they're not looking to end it right now. But they can't even communicate that properly.
Yeah, it is really amazing the degree to which the one thing you can get true bipartisanship out of Washington in a hurry is that Congress and insiders should play by different rules than the rest of us. Well, the American people don't believe that. And what Senator Vitter is trying to do right now with the Vitter Amendment is actually make the law be the law. Vitter didn't like Obamacare. I don't like Obamacare. But the law says that Congress and their staffs have to go onto the exchanges. And that means that they've been dumped by their employer, and we, the people, are their employer. And they may not like being dumped, but why do they get the president and the Office of Personnel Management to write a special rule for them to treat them differently than all the rest of the hardworking Americans who get dumped by their employer plans on? It's really breathtaking. But Obamacare says Congress is supposed to be on exchange, and they're trying to write a special rule to get them out of it.
Yeah, it is insane. And we're talking to Ben Sass, former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, running for the U.S. Senate seat from Nebraska. So you've set a record for the fundraising. What's your outlook after 8 weeks? What are your thoughts going forward here? You must be pretty optimistic.
Yeah, well, we're gratified by the way the Nebraska people have responded to us. You know, I'm not a politician. I've never run for anything before. I was Boise State governor when I was 17, but I've never run for any official public office. And so, you know, I don't have a lot of name ID. I'm not some insider who knows how to do all this stuff. But what we've done is respected the voters of Nebraska and go out and have an honest conversation that we know they want to deliver to their kids and grandkids a world as great as the one they inherited from their grandparents. That's not our inertia of motion path. As President Reagan said, every generation has to go recover freedom and transmit it to the next generation. That's what we want to do. That's what this campaign's about. And, you know, we did set an all-time fundraising record in the first 8 weeks of this campaign because the people in Nebraska believe in America and believe in what we want to build. But we got a lot more work to do and a lot of people to get to know in this state. But we're having a ton of fun traveling Nebraska.
Boy, Ben, I'll tell you that Reagan quote, as it applies to the United States mainland and 50 states altogether, has never been more appropriate because we're losing it all under this administration in every single aspect of our lives and our society and our rights. We're just losing it. Give folks a website if you'd like, sir.
Yeah, we'll be launching our campaign officially next week. So we've been raising money, but sassfornebraska.com is where people can.
And that's SASSE for Nebraska. Was that the number 4 or FOR?
Spelled out.
Okay.
FOR, yep.
SASSE for Nebraska.com. Good luck. I'm sure there'll be a lot less glitches than there are for the Obamacare.
Steve, good to be with you.
Take care, Ben. Thank you.
Thanks
Ben Sass, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know much about the campaign in Nebraska, but he sounds like he certainly is a great speaker, has experience in a very vital area, and has his head on straight and can Communicate. Communicate. That's what it's all about. Hey, like the hokey pokey. Okay, when we come back, another great communicator, Benjamin Netanyahu, spoke at the United Nations today. And I got to tell you, not that he cares, not that he was listening, not that he, but Barack Obama, when he does find out about this, might be a little perturbed because Netanyahu insulted Barack Obama's new best buddy. Yeah, his best buddy, the president of Iran. He actually brought up his past, what he was involved in. The barracks in Beirut, Khobar Towers, the slaughter of innocents in Buenos Aires, you name it. This guy was the head of the security forces for Iran. And like Bibi said, you mean he knew nothing about it? But he's Obama's buddy. So you killed some Jews, you killed some Americans. Who cares? I called you on the phone. You took my call, even though you wouldn't shake my hand. And I want to be your friend. What's that, John Boehner? Tell him that. Hang up on him. Hang up on him. I'm talking to my buddy from Iran. Killer of Jews and Americans. That's right. Tell John Boehner he can wait. Insanity. On the Steve Malzberg Show. Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and gold IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
Rouhani headed Iran's Supreme National Security Council from 1989 through 2003. During that time, Iran's henchmen gunned down opposition leaders in a Berlin restaurant. They murdered and gunned down opposition leaders in a Berlin restaurant. They killed 19 American soldiers by blowing up the Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia. Are we to believe that Rouhani, the national security advisor of Iran at the time, knew nothing about these attacks? Of course he did.
Of course he did. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, folks. Benjamin Netanyahu, earlier today at the United Nations, speaking about President Hassan Rouhani, the president of Iran, Barack Obama's new best friend. Doesn't matter to Barack Obama if he has the blood of America. Barack Obama's new best friend. Doesn't matter to Barack Obama if he has the blood of America. And that's all that matters. By the way, let's go to our guest and we'll talk about this because and that's all that matters. By the way, let's go to our guest and we'll talk about this because how are you?
Hi, Steve. Very well, thank you.
Well, I know you're making time for us today, and I really do appreciate it. How are you?
Hi, Steve. Very well, thank you.
Well, I know you're making time for us today, and I really do appreciate it. If Israel is forced to stand alone, Israel will stand alone. Now, that's probably a reference to the fact that the United States now considers, the Iranian president their best friend. Talk about what Netanyahu said today, calling the president of Iran a wolf in sheep's clothing, citing the blood that he has on his hands, and how that plays with, Obama's new friendship.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the comment that Netanyahu made about Israel standing alone. First of all, I want to say that Israel won't be alone because there will be a lot of Iranians who want to see a free Iran and whose brains work and who are logical and rational individuals who stand with Israel. That's one. The next thing is that those bombs that any missiles or anything that Iran is producing is not going to be smart enough to differentiate between Jew, Christian, Muslim. So if they are really if they care anything about those Palestinian people, and they really meant it, and Netanyahu's right here, they would never in a million years have targeted Israel where in an area where obviously many Palestinians can also get harmed. So that is in and of itself is proof positive that Netanyahu's right, that the Iranian regime is by no means, nothing it does is peaceful. Rouhani is, in fact, very much a wolf in a sheep's clothes. He described it perfectly. And I can't say that there's much that he said that I didn't agree with. I thought it was charming that he referenced Cyrus the Great and that he acknowledged the how far back the Iranian people and the Jewish people go. In Iran, what's very interesting is that many of the Iranian Jews consider themselves first Iranian and then Jews. But let's not forget also that there were Jews in Iran 1,100 years before we were attacked by the Arab hordes and we were forcibly Islamized or turned Muslim. The other thing I wanted to actually touch on, which you also put the clip that you put on, where Netanyahu was touching on the topic of the Iranians who, or the people essentially, starting from Iranians and then Americans and then the 80 people in Buenos Aires in the AMIA Center. The Iranian regime is absolutely, for them it doesn't matter. It could be Iranian, it could be Jewish, Argentine, it could be an American Indian for all they care. They are happy to basically teach a lesson to anybody who gets in their way, and they do it randomly, and they're doing it all the time. And it's one of the things that, unfortunately, I've always discussed, but seems to go always again undiscussed or unbroached, and that is the number of suicide bombers that the Iranian regime has that are deployed or deployable. And many of those, actually about 90% of them are not even Iranian. They're, holdovers from the Taliban. They are Syrians. They're Lebanese Hezbollah. They have a smorgasbord of people who they have recruited and they have basically trained and given funds to and blueprints for various operations and so forth. So there's that terrorist aspect of the Iranian regime. But what's very important and interesting is that Netanyahu talked about the assassination of the Iranian opposition people in the restaurant, the Mykonos restaurant in Berlin in 1994. Now, the man who was in charge of overseeing that entire assassination plot in 1994 was a man by the name of Hossein Mousavian, who was at the time one of the quote Iranian diplomats in Berlin. That very man was also then later on a deputy to Rouhani, and he was somebody who accompanied Rouhani in many of the trips that Rouhani took to Brussels to dialogue with the European Troika during the early 2000s.
Amazing, just amazing.
And let me finish off by saying this. Mr. Mousavian is now a scholar at Princeton University.
Well, I thought you were going to tell me he's serving in the Homeland Security Department of the Obama administration.
No, but he yet again, the American academia does, does the amazing mental loop-de-loop that has always left me agog and shocked. But yes, now Princeton University has given a chair to one of the most notorious and ill-reputed Iranian terrorists.
Well, unbelievable, but you're an education to listen to as always. I really appreciate your time today, Benefsheh. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I will speak to you soon. Benefsheh Zand, ladies and gentlemen, Iranian writer, filmmaker. Her family very, very, very distinguished in Iran. Her father was destined to run the country, but wasn't to be that. Well, not destined, as it turns out. But anyway, very fascinating and intelligent lady with a great perspective and very unique perspective on Iran. All right, folks, in the next hour, we'll be joined by the Israeli Deputy Secretary of Defense, Danny Danon. Pete Hoekstra will be here. Steve Emerson will be here. All of that, imagine, on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real hold-in-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. The political game of ping pong continues in Washington, D.C. today as the Senate and House trade different versions of government funding bills that seemingly are doomed to fail even before they come up for a vote. We are now hours into this government shutdown, and today the Senate quickly voted on straight party lines to reject funding on a House measure that passed last night, requesting conferees be assigned to negotiate. Democrats have said they want a so-called clean continuing resolution, meaning if any funding bill is going to pass the House, it must also contain no additional demands to delay or defund the president's health care law or any other demands. Democrats say they have already compromised by agreeing to fund the government at lower levels than last year. Republicans say they, too, have made their best offer.
We will not relitigate the health care debate or negotiate at the point of a gun.
The House legislation has been perfectly reasonable. It didn't have everything Republicans wanted. It didn't have everything Democrats wanted, but it represented compromise.
Meanwhile, a new Quinnipiac poll shows that 72% of Americans oppose a government shutdown as a way to stop Obamacare from going into effect. And the GOP's efforts to stop Obamacare obviously have failed. Those state-run exchanges went live today for the first time, marking the official start of the Affordable Care Act. Today is the first day of a 6-month open enrollment period. People have reported some glitches at websites where folks go to sign up for those new health care options in different states. Those plans do not go into effect until 2014. Meanwhile, 7 million people are expected to sign up for coverage this year alone. And U.S. markets seem to be shrugging off the shutdown and the Obamacare exchange's rollout. Despite losing 128 points on Monday, the Dow rebounded well Tuesday morning. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ also showed positive numbers during the early hours of trading. Economists say we probably won't see significant damage as a result of the shutdown unless it lasts for a long period of time. Also, it's unclear if the government's monthly unemployment reports, which are closely watched by Wall Street, will be available later this week, also due to the shutdown. And in New York, a street chase ends with one man in the hospital and police searching for clues about a motorcycle gang. Some pretty amazing video here. Watch closely as this group of bikers box in a man who was driving with his wife and infant daughter in their SUV. Apparently scared for his life, the driver takes off, runs over a couple of bikers, breaking one of their legs. But some of the bikers catch up with the driver later. They break his wheel, runs over a couple of bikers, breaking one of their legs. But some of the bikers catch up with the driver later. They break his wheel. One biker responsible for causing the initial accident with the SUV More arrests could be coming. One biker responsible for causing the initial accident with the SUV. More arrests could be coming. What on the negotiating table now that the government has shut down? Plus a daring rescue in the South China Sea, while the Chinese president is now calling for the military to step in after this typhoon.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings. Family and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings. The recession has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is LigNet? LigNet is knowledge. LigNet is power. LigNet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is LigNet? LigNet is confidential. LigNet is sensitive. LigNet is security. What is LigNet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Welcome back. Rescue crews pulled 14 Chinese fishermen from their sinking boat during a typhoon this week. Their boat capsized in the South China Sea about 150 miles from land. But there are still more than 50 fishermen missing out there. Further rescue efforts have been hampered by a typhoon and its strong winds. China's President Xi Jinping has called for the military now to step in with the search. And so now that the government has shut down, who's going to put what on the bargaining table? Democrats say they've already agreed to lower spending levels, and Republicans remain entrenched as well. Earlier, Newsmax TV talked to Senator Rand Paul, a man many people are looking to for leadership in this shutdown. Senator Paul says the GOP remains committed to changing Obamacare as much as it can.
I'd just soon get rid of the whole thing, but if we can't get rid of the whole thing, I think we ought to do everything we can to make it less bad.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for October 1st. I'm John Bachman. For more exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax TV and Newsmax.com.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We have a big hour planned for you. As, the government's still shut down, just in case you didn't know it. We're going to speak momentarily to the Deputy Secretary of Defense for the State of Israel, Danny Danon, talk about Benjamin Netanyahu's speech at the United Nations. Pete Hoekstra will be here, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, former congressman from Michigan. We'll talk to the congressman about the shutdown and the strategy. Steve Emerson will join us to talk about John McCain hired this woman who is basically a shill for the rebels in Syria, but not even the good rebels. And she got discredited. She reportedly enhanced her resume and got fired from her previous position, and John McCain hires her. So we'll talk about that with Steve Emerson, and we'll talk about more with Steve Emerson as well. The Dow up 62 points. The NASDAQ up 46 points. The S&P, he said, up 13 points on a day when the government was shut down. And as I mentioned earlier, and I'd love to hear from you folks here, 855-777-9660. 855-777-9660. Does it matter to you that the government shut down? Do you blame the president who won't negotiate, Harry Reid who won't negotiate, or the Republicans? I'd love to hear from you. But it was Chuck Todd this morning who said on MSNBC to two guests, the White House is really hoping to get some help from the markets, but so far they're not cooperating. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said, almost verbatim. Yes, the president, according to Chuck Todd, hopes the markets tank. That's how much he cares about you people. He hopes the markets tank. So the Republicans will be pressured, and the Republicans will look worse. But it was not to be on day one. The markets went up. Anyway. Okay, by the way, Apple, who Obama used in the analogy for glitches, all the many glitches on the Obamacare online registrations today all over the country, he compared it to Apple launching a product with a glitch. Apple went up 12 points or so today. I wonder what President Obama could say about his stock. Ha-ha! Very clever, Steve. Very good. All right. I want you to listen to this. Savannah Guthrie, NBC Today show yesterday with this liberal nonsense about how the Republicans were punished after the 95 government shutdown. Here's cut number 31.
While there are that small band of loud conservatives who are wanting to, not cave, not give in to anything, do whatever it takes to stop the health care law, there is a growing chorus of moderate Republicans who are telling Boehner, don't do this. You remember how bad this was for the Republican Party 20 years ago. What are you doing? You're putting the majority at risk.
It seems to me that this all comes down to who thinks they will get the blame for a shutdown. I mean, for 17 years, it's been an article of faith that Republicans paid at the polls after the shutdown in the 90s. Right. But these new House Republicans aren't so sure that's true.
Yeah, because it's not true. And it's been an article of faith, Savannah. So both Chuck Todd, White House correspondent, NBC News, and Savannah Guthrie are perpetuating this myth. How many seats do you think the Republicans lost? Now, yes, Bill Clinton won the presidential election. But you know what the government shutdown led to? A balanced budget and welfare reform. That's what it led to. So, come on. But Bill Clinton won re-election. But the Republicans were punished? I think they lost 2 congressional seats in the House, and they won seats in the Senate. So how were they punished? It's myth. It's myth. And what's the definition of punishment? That Clinton won the presidency against Bob Dole, who ran a terrible campaign. So what else is new? They were punished. They weren't punished at all. Now, Chuck Todd again. We did that already. Let's see. Ready to break with range? I wonder. All right. Well, let's skip ahead to 33. CNN's Dana Bash, Congressman Scott Riggle, Republican from Virginia, had just told her he was deeply offended by a suicide bomber comparison, and then listen to cut 33.
And when Senator Reid refers to us as anarchists and others say in the White House that they don't want to negotiate with people with bombs strapped to their chest, I'm deeply offended by it.
Are you fighting a kamikaze mission here? I mean, you know the way the Senate Democrats are going to respond, and they run the show over there.
So he just says how offended he is over, being called terrorists and bomb strapped. And then she says, are you running a kamikaze mission? Are these people, I'd like to say they're brain dead. I'd like to say they're ignorant. I'd like to say they don't know any better. But folks, first of all, do you remember Gabby Giffords? Remember the shooting? Do you remember how they blamed Republicans for this violent rhetoric? Do you remember how words like crosshairs or targeting a congressional district, that led to the shooting? Ooh, those are violent imagery. Well, you can't say that. And ever since then, the Democrats have gotten worse and worse and worse with words, throwing words around, naming Republicans and labeling Republicans as terrorists and hostage takers and kidnappers and bomb makers and jihadis. And it's insane. And don't, God forbid, the next mass shooting, they'll find a way to blame it on a Republican because of something he or she said. I'm telling you, it's insane. So my point is, I'd like to say that Dana Bash and these people are, ignorant, crazy. They're not. They know exactly what they're doing. They're carrying the water for Obama, as we heard earlier in the show from Mark Halpern, that Obama is counting on. And they're making villains out of the Republicans, all the while hoping for, the market to crash and everything else to go wrong, because somehow this is the Republicans' fault. You have a president, if he says on one hand Obamacare is the law of the land. So what gives him the right to pick and choose what parts of the law to enforce? He delayed the implementation of the mandate for businesses. He gave exemptions to various groups, many exemptions. How can he do that? He's not king. Where in the law did it say the president may give exemptions? It doesn't. So he did that, and now the Republicans say we'll give one more exemption to individuals. You just hate Obamacare. Please. Anybody with a brain could see that what the Republicans are trying to do here makes sense. It's what they ran on. It's what they won on. But anyway. All right. By the way, the White House says it's not a serious proposal, as the Republicans now are offering, as Susan Ferrecchio said they would, partially funding the government, opening the parks, funding this, funding that. The White House says it's not a serious proposal. But the White House won't talk to the Republicans. Boy, does Barack Obama want this government to stay shut. Boy, does Harry Reid want this government to stay shut. They are the villains in this. They are the reason for this. Just listen to what's happening. Open your eyes. Don't listen to the spin from CNN and the rest of them. Use your brain and understand. Ask yourself, does this seem right? A president who calls the opposition leader to say, I will not negotiate? What are you calling for? Yet calls the president of Iran and says, let's talk? All right. We're going to come back, and we're going to be joined by the defense secretary, the acting deputy defense secretary, I should say, for the state of Israel, a man who I've talked to many times, Danny Dannon, on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you at the free website 99reverse.com. We reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting.
Who is LigNet?
LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and special assistant to President Ronald Reagan, Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. ambassador to Venezuela, Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Peter Hoekstra, also joined our advisory board staff.
What is LigNet's mission?
Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events.
What are the benefits of joining LigNet?
There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com/radio.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
Rouhani is a wolf in sheep's clothing. A wolf who thinks he can pull the wool over the eyes of the international community. Well, like everyone else, I wish we could believe Rouhani's words. But we must focus on Iran's actions. And it's the brazen contrast, this extraordinary contradiction between Rouhani's words and Iran's actions that is so startling.
Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, speaking at the United Nations earlier today, and I am honored to say that we are joined right now by a man who I've had the pleasure of speaking to, not on this show, but when I was at WOR Radio in New York, and it's Israeli Deputy Secretary of Defense Danny Danon. Hello, sir.
Hello, Steve. It's great to speak with you again.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure. Very, very important time. You were obviously well aware of what the Prime Minister had to say today. Give me your take on his address to the United Nations. What the key part of the message was in your view, what he was trying to get across.
I think the main two points that the Prime Minister made very well today, that first, we cannot be naive. We cannot be naive with Rouhani, with Iran. Yes, Rouhani came to New York City, made very good appearances in the media, but we need to look at the actions. And Israel is not in a place where we can gamble on the question of whether Iran is really wants to become nuclear or not. We are not in a point to take that chance. For us, it can be fatal. Maybe for the U.S. it will be costly, but we cannot gamble on it. And the second point, that we put all options on the table. The military option is still here. Even if we will have to do it ourselves, we are capable and we will do it, because we cannot allow ourselves that Iran will achieve the nuclear capability, and God forbid will use it against us.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. And Bibi said, I believe he said that, just want to get the exact quote. Yeah, here it is, that if Israel is forced to stand alone, Israel will stand alone. And I had Caroline Glick on, who I'm sure you know very well, yesterday, and she was talking about how she believes that basically Barack Obama has tied the hands of Israel, because there's no way Israel would be able to conduct a military exercise against Iran while negotiations were going on, or if the president and Secretary Kerry say we've reached an agreement, that Israel would kind of be forced, their hand would be forced to kind of accept that agreement, if you will. But was the message today, part of the message today from the Prime Minister, as you just alluded to, maybe in response to that by saying, you know, people could talk to Iran, people could come to their own agreements with Iran, but if we feel we must strike, we will?
We are open for a diplomatic effort, and the Prime Minister said it as well today in his speech, but we are skeptical. And, you know, every fall we see the Iranian leader coming to New York City, deliver the speech, but what happens in between? So we will follow very carefully what will happen in Iran, what will happen in Natanz, in Qom, in Iraq, in all the facilities where they're spending billions of dollars in order to build the reactors. And I think that's something we cannot sit idly by in the way to see whether the U.S. is moving forward or not. We hope that we will see a change, but a change is not negotiations. It's not playing with the inspectors. We are far behind that. A change is a decision that there will be no uranium in Iran. They will stop the enrichment. They will stop the issue of the plutonium. And I think we will know in the next few weeks where they are going.
We're talking to Israeli Deputy Secretary of Defense Danny Danon here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When the Prime Minister met with the President yesterday, did he relay? I would imagine, if I had to guess, but you maybe you're more privy, certainly, and maybe at liberty to say, maybe not. I would say he went further with the president in private than he went at the United Nations. Maybe some of it was the same, but for instance, when the Prime Minister pointed out today the past history of Rouhani and the blood on his hands from Khobar Towers to the killing at the Jewish Center in Buenos Aires and other such instances, I'm sure that he made that plain to President Obama in private as well?
Absolutely, and we do share the information and intelligence with our closest ally, with the U.S. And I think today it's not secret in the U.S. that Iran is playing with the world, is playing with the U.S. Maybe we hear the different voices, but still they are playing the same games. And the Prime Minister said it very clearly, we will not allow them to continue with that. Rouhani himself said, allow me to play with the U.S. I know how to trick them. I know how to play with them. We read it in his book, and we are not waiting to see what will be the outcome of his new regime.
What do you think then is behind the diplomatic outreach, which the Prime Minister said he condones to a point, but what do you think is behind the outreach from President Obama and his seeming trust in this man? Secretary of State Kerry saying that he thinks they could wrap this thing up in 6 months. The president citing this, as far as I could tell, non-existent fatwa put out by Khomeini that Iran will not have nuclear weapons. What's behind all this positive talk and friendship with a terrorist regime and a man who has blood on his hands?
Well, I think it is flattering when you see a state that is against you and leaders who are against you for years, and all of a sudden they come and smile and speak very nicely. You are being flattered, but you shouldn't be fooled. And in the Middle East, we unfortunately got used to it. That sometimes we have ceremonies and declarations and even agreements, but then the reality is different. And I think that the U.S. should continue with the diplomacy, but they should put a timeline that will actually put Iran in a point where they will have to reach a decision whether they are playing or they really want to end the nuclear race.
Let me ask you one more question, Danny, and that is, if I may call you Danny, and that is that are you aware of this fatwa that the president keeps talking about from the Ayatollah Khomeini? And A, are you aware? And B, if there was one, would it mean anything to you?
It wouldn't mean anything to us. We want to see the satellite pictures. We want to see the reports about the uranium. We want to see the inspectors on the ground. That's what we count, and not any declarations or fatwas that might be there or not, but what's happening on the ground. That's what we are looking to see a change there.
Danny, I hope you'll come back, sir, often, because I treasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and I hope to speak with you about better issues in the future.
You got that right. Okay, have a happy, healthy New Year, sir, and thank you for your time. Israeli
Bye-bye.
Deputy Secretary of Defense Danny Danon, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting, very revealing. When we come back, former Congressman Pete Hoekstra will join us. We'll turn our attention back to the shutdown, the strategy, where we go from here, Boehner, you name it. We do it all. And Michael Jordan thinks he could take LeBron James in his prime. We'll talk about that, too, on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show. Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
When you say, what can I offer? I shouldn't have to offer anything. They're not doing me a favor by paying for things that they have already approved for the government to do. That's part of their basic function of government. That's not doing me a favor. That's doing what the American people sent them here to do, carrying out their responsibilities.
Folks, welcome back. Steve Malzberg with you. The president yesterday during an interview. Joining us now is former Congressman Pete Hoekstra from Michigan and former chair of the House Intelligence Committee. Hey, Congressman, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing just fine. Thank you, Steve.
Good to talk to you again. Well, first of all, weigh in on the president's attitude. And, it continues. He trashed them again today. No talks. He picked up the phone yesterday to tell Boehner, no talks. Today, now the Republicans are saying they might send individual bills funding Parks Department, different aspects of the government. The White House says it's not good enough. What's going on here?
Well, I think, that's what you're seeing in the out in front. The president's not negotiating. The scary thing is it's also the lack of what you're seeing in the background. I mean, I went through this in 1995 when I was in Congress, and we had lots of confrontations too when George Bush was president. But every time you kind of reached one of these points, you always knew what the moving pieces were in the background. You knew that there were negotiations going on between the House, the Senate, the Republicans, the Democrats, and the White House, and you all knew what kind of the framework around what a deal was going to look like, and everybody wanted to get to a deal, and sometimes it was really, really hard, but you had people working it. And what you're seeing now is you're just seeing Harry Reid and the president saying, hey, nope, we want it all. I don't know how this is going to play it out. I hope the Republicans don't cave and walk away from this fight. There'll be a lot of folks around America who are going to be disappointed by it.
And Congressman, one of the really heartwarming things that took place today took place at the World War II Memorial, of course, which was closed along with all the other memorials and sightseeing places in Washington, D.C., also here in New York and all over the country, Statue of Liberty, etc. But there was it was supposed to be a final gathering of heroes. Yep. And World War II vets came from all over the country, about 200 of them from actually Mississippi and Iowa. So they just went. You were there.
I was there.
They went past the barricades, right?
Well, they actually, I was just on Omaha Beach last week. I was on vacation, and we went to Normandy, Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, the American Cemetery at Normandy. And as I was walking to work this morning, my wife called, and she said, you got these honor flights coming into Washington today, and they've closed the World War II Memorial. And I said, this is absolutely nuts. Actually, I was a little bit more forceful than that.
I bet, yeah.
But you probably can't put that on the air. And I got into the office. I called a couple of my buddies on Capitol Hill, and I said, this is outrageous. And they said, hey, Pete, we're working it. And so I went down there at 11:15. The buses rolled in. The vets lined up, and the Park Service must have worked overnight to get these barricades up. They ring the barricades, these barricades around the World War II Memorial, so you can't get in. It's an open air memorial, right? This is crazy. But hey, there were congressmen there. There was a Democrat senator there. And what they very respectfully did is they cut the yellow crime tape, that was around the memorial. They moved some of the barricades, and hallelujah, these World War II vets were able to go down into the memorial and see the structure that was that was put in place to commemorate their heroic acts. I mean, it would have been tragic, embarrassing, and an outright shame to the United States government if these guys had traveled here and were not allowed to go in. So it was a heart-lifting moment. As the wheelchairs are going down, the other tourists that were there who still couldn't go down in there, they started applauding. It was
that's great. No, that's a bright spot in today's mess, certainly, without a doubt. And I'm so glad you were there and able to share it with us. Briefly, let me, I keep hearing about how the Republicans were punished in 1995. First of all, the media doesn't tell you the government had been shut down 17 times before today. It was overwhelmingly when there was a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, sometimes even with Jimmy Carter as president and Byrd and O'Neill in charge of the chambers. But let's go to 95 for a second. I mean, yes, Bill Clinton won the election, but but you guys picked up seats in the couple of seats in the Senate. You lost a couple in the House. So how were the Republicans punished after 95?
I'll tell you, I don't remember it as being punished. I remember the 1990s. A couple of things. Number one, we stayed in the majority. I was part of the majority party from 1995 until until 2002, 2004, until 2004.
Right.
So those were pretty good years. The second thing I remember is we fought for principle. We reached agreements, but we reformed welfare. We cut taxes. We restrained spending. We did the right thing. And you know what, Steve? The end result, it was good for America.
Yep.
There was prosperity. There was economic growth. And, again, this gets to Bill Clinton knew how to cut a deal. Newt Gingrich knew how to cut a deal. They knew how to govern. They also knew how to be partisan politicians, which they showed. Gingrich got reelected as Speaker. Clinton got reelected as president. They both knew how to, they knew how to govern. They knew how to be politicians and what hat to wear when.
And this guy doesn't. But let me tell you what I think, and you tell me what you think. I think he'd be happy if the government was shut down permanently. It would give him more freedom to do more things. I think he views it for himself as a good thing. I don't think he cares.
The president wants to have this fight. He doesn't want to talk about, the failures that we're having with a very, very weak economy. He doesn't want to be focused on the failures that are happening as Obamacare rolls out. He doesn't want to be talking about his failures on foreign policy. His poll numbers have been going down for the last few months because of the ineffectiveness of this administration. He believes that this is going to be able to enhance his numbers, and perhaps heaven forbid that Nancy Pelosi becomes Speaker again in 2016.
Well, you said
14.
You said it right. Heaven forbid.
Yeah, but that's what he's working towards.
I know.
He wants to win the House back.
And
the only way this guy can govern is if he controls all branches. Yeah, but that's what he's working towards.
I know.
He wants to win the House back.
And
the only way this guy can govern is if he controls all branches.
Pleasure, sir. Look forward to the next time.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Former Congressman, of course, Pete Hoekstra, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, Steve Emerson will join us, and he has some interesting things to talk about with us, and we'll do that on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio. Wait till you hear who's serving in the Obama Homeland Security Department.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real holding-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone.
Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is our friend. He's the executive director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism. You know him, you love him, Steve Emerson. Hey, Steve, how are you?
I don't know about loving me, but
I didn't say I love you. I said you know him, you love him. So I'm secure within my own sexuality. Anyway,
not that there would be anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's right. So just quote Jerry Seinfeld and Friends. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about here. And first of all, let's start with this phony notion put forth not only at the UN by Barack Obama, but subsequently when he called the Iranian president and he talked about this. How he has confidence that a solution here could be found with Iran. And one of the reasons he cites is because the Ayatollah issued a fatwa against nuclear weapons, against Iran having nuclear weapons. Now, first of all, tell the folks what a fatwa is, and then tell the folks how this is just pure and utter fiction.
A fatwa is a religious decree, and it was alleged that, and Obama made the statement at the UN, that the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, issued a fatwa several years ago, against the use of nuclear weapons. And Memory, which is a fantastic organization, did a whole investigation and found that it didn't exist. It never was made.
Right. They translate into English all the rantings and ravings of the radical Islamists.
Right. The point is that it just didn't exist. And then there were people who tried to maintain that it was, orally communicated, but fatwas cannot be orally communicated. So
they must be written.
Yeah, so maybe this was invisible ink, or it was mentally communicated, or it came from aliens. Who knows?
You never know, and that leads me to my next point. And by the way, Caroline Glick mentioning the same thing, and others, that this thing just does not exist. But hey, this is Barack Obama, who opens his mouth, and very often, you could keep your doctor if you like him. What else could I say? Now, then there's John Kerry. Now, John Kerry, even before Obama made the phone call, when he sat there, Kerry, with his counterpart from Iran, with the other nations, the 4 or 5 other nations, he immediately said, I think we could wind up lifting the sanctions in a very short time, relatively speaking. And now he went even further, right?
Yeah, he said we could wrap it up in 6 months. Wrap it up in 6 months. I mean, here you had actually Khamenei yesterday calling for the destruction of Israel. CNN lied, deliberately and outrageously lied in mistranslating what Rouhani said, claiming that Rouhani condemned the Holocaust. He never even mentioned the Holocaust. The Iranians have refused anything substantively in terms of opening up their facilities to the IAEA. The only thing that was done was that there was a telephone call, and he didn't say, I want to destroy Israel. That was it. Okay? And suddenly there's a love affair going on.
Yeah, well, it puts Israel in a really no-win position. I think Barack Obama has found a way to stick it to Israel, because how are they going to bomb Iran? Now they can't count on any support from the United States. In fact, quite the opposite. Warnings from the United States. We're negotiating with them. We're going to do it through peaceful means. Don't you dare. And what's Netanyahu going to do? And all the while, Obama has to know he's going to allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. And if Israel doesn't like it, that's too bad. I think he's found a way to really stick it to them.
Well, he has found a way. I mean, by saying we could wrap it up in 6 months. I mean, and by saying that the only and Kerry also said, well, we only want a diplomatic solution. I mean, he's taking, even though Obama ritually says all, options are on the table, it's like that non-existent fatwa. It doesn't carry any weight, especially when we saw what he did with Syria.
Yeah, well, of course, that's another losing game. We're talking to Steve Emerson here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I want to ask you a question. What the heck's wrong with John McCain? He has now hired a woman named Elizabeth Obagi, or Obagi, whichever, who was fired from her post at the Institute for the Study of War after it was learned that she had reportedly falsified her claim of having received a PhD from Georgetown University. And this is a so-called Syrian expert whose work has been cited by the likes of John Kerry, John McCain, as they argued for international intervention into Syria.
Yeah, well, she allegedly, was cited because she claimed falsely that most of the rebels in Syria were peace-loving pluralists, when in fact most of them are jihadists. And turns out she worked for the Syrian Emergency Task Force, which is a group largely composed of Muslim Brotherhood or Hamas activists. And they have a vested interest in misrepresenting the constituency, making up the rebels, because they want the money coming from the state. They've gotten $3 million from the State Department, and I'm sure they didn't spend it on weapons. They sent it on, on nice comfort creatures. So the fact is that she comes from a disgraced background. She lied about her own credentials. She lied about the actual makeup, the whole analysis. She vouched for an actual terrorist who is charged with providing material support to Al-Qaeda. And then she signed a plea agreement to a lesser charge and sentenced to time served and was released. Now, John McCain,
But there's one more. She also, maybe you mentioned this, didn't she? She served as political director for the Syrian Emergency Task Force,
Yes.
which is a nonprofit rebel support group.
Well, it's a group made up largely of Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas.
There you go.
Yep. And it totally discredited.
And then John McCain hires her.
Well, listen, not only that, but I don't know if you remember this. About 2 weeks ago, he was on Fox and Friends.
Oh, when he said, are you going to tell me when he said,
the Allahu Akbar,
Allah Akbar is just
thank
like,
God,
thank God.
you know,
Yeah, we played the bite with him and Brian Kilmeade. Yeah, just total insanity. Total insanity. All right, one more for you here. Speaking of total insanity, I have asked the question over and over and over and over, almost rhetorically, because I think I know deep in my heart what the answer is. But why has this administration remained silent while Christians are being killed all over the Middle East and all over Africa, day by day? Churches burned, churches bombed, schools burned, schools bombed, people beheaded, and we say nothing as a country. And then one of the reasons here, one of the indications, is a man that Janet Napolitano appointed to the Homeland Security Department before she left, and some of his outrageous statements, including blaming the cops in Egypt for their own persecution.
Right.
You know who I'm talking about?
Ali Biari.
Yes, Muhammad Ali Biari.
Who has a history, in fact, a history of actually. He actually went to a commemoration for Ayatollah Khomeini. He has openly stated that the Holy Land Foundation was an injustice, that is, the prosecution and conviction of Hamas terrorists. He has supported the Muslim Brotherhood, and yet he was appointed by Janet Napolitano to the elite counterterrorism advisory panel and actually given a security clearance. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up.
No, and if America only knew. If America, imagine, let's live in a fantasy world for a second, Steve. Just this story alone. Just imagine if somehow they all took drugs and CNN, MSNBC, ABC, and they all led with this one night. America would be outraged, but they're never going to hear about it, most of them, because most of them don't even know what Obamacare is.
Listen, the fact is that this administration, and together with the media, there was only one brief interlude when the media wasn't on the Teflon side, is when the AP search warrants were issued, and then the media said, well, he's not our friend, but that lasted for about a month.
Yeah.
So otherwise, they've been protecting him. They, as you pointed out, they don't describe the whole attack on Christians. In fact, I don't know who did that story. It was a very famous story right after the story about Al-Shabaab killing all the people at the mall, where 92 out of 100 newspapers didn't even use the word Islamic.
Oh, yeah. That was, I know Newsbusters picked it up. Either they wrote it or picked it up. Absolutely. I think the New York Times was that mall massacre shows resurgence of terror group. And that was the headline.
That was the headline, right. That was
good for them. Hey, they're coming back.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. Steve, we live in a
and it gets worse because we don't use the word radical Islam. In fact, in the president's speech, what he said, something that people at the UN, he said that the solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is going to solve basically all of our problems and help solve the Iran problem. What is he, crazy? Iran is not going to be satisfied with the existence of an Israeli state. Neither will most of the Muslim countries. They're never going to accept the notion of an existence of Israel. That's number one. Number two, the fact that he would say that this is going to resolve the conflict buys into the absolute ludicrous notion that this is the core of the problem. The core of the problem is the Arab rejection of Israel, the refusal to accept it as a Jewish state, and the notion that they all believe in of the right of return, that all Palestinians have the right to reinvade Israel and destroy it.
Right. Well, I've always known, and I've always said, and I've always felt, I should say, not known, can't know, that Barack Obama has, let's put it this way, absolutely no love for the state of Israel. He's the only quote-unquote imperialist nation, including ours, that he could really do anything directly to, although he's destroying this one. But he can't do anything to Great Britain, really, so he's taking everything he can out on Israel. But anyway, for another time, Steve Emerson, the Executive Director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism, thank you as always, my friend.
You're very welcome.
Take
Steve.
care. All right, folks, it's crazy. It's insane. Yeah, John Kerry thinks we could wrap this up in 6 months. And then Israel, you have to accept the fact that we wrapped it up in 6 months, and your future will be in danger, in doubt. You'll be living with a nuclear Iran. The whole world will. But hey, John Kerry wrapped it up in 6 months. Barack Obama will get the Nobel Peace Prize again, and that's what it's all about. And we have Islamists in the Homeland Security Department who blame Christians for their own death. It's a wonderful world. Welcome to the Obama Nation. Love to hear from you. 855-777-9660. 855-777-9660 on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you at the free website 99reverse.com. We reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. The political game of ping pong continues in Washington, D.C. today as the Senate and House trade different versions of government funding bills that seemingly are doomed to fail even before they come up for a vote. We are now hours into this government shutdown, and today the Senate quickly voted on straight party lines to reject funding on a House measure that passed last night requesting conferees be assigned to negotiate. Democrats have said they want a so-called clean continuing resolution, meaning if any funding bill is going to pass the House, it must also contain no additional demands to delay or defund the president's health care law or any other demands. Democrats say they have already compromised by agreeing to fund the government at lower levels than last year. Republicans say they, too, have made their best offer.
We will not relitigate the health care debate or negotiate at the point of a gun.
The House legislation has been perfectly reasonable. It didn't have everything Republicans wanted. It didn't have everything Democrats wanted, but it represented compromise.
Meanwhile, a new Quinnipiac poll shows that 72% of Americans oppose a government shutdown as a way to stop Obamacare from going into effect. And the GOP's efforts to stop Obamacare obviously have failed. Those state-run exchanges went live today for the first time, marking the official start of the Affordable Care Act. Today is the first day of a 6-month open enrollment period. People have reported some glitches at websites where folks go to sign up for those new health care options in different states. Those plans do not go into effect until 2014. Meanwhile, 7 million people are expected to sign up for coverage this year alone. And U.S. markets seem to be shrugging off the shutdown and the Obamacare exchange's rollout. Despite losing 128 points on Monday, the Dow rebounded well Tuesday morning. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ also showed positive numbers during the early hours of trading. Economists say we probably won't see significant damage as a result of the shutdown unless it lasts for a long period of time. Also, it's unclear if the government's monthly unemployment reports, which are closely watched by Wall Street, will be available later this week, also due to the shutdown. And in New York, a street chase ends with one man in the hospital and police searching for clues about a motorcycle gang. Some pretty amazing video here. Watch closely as this group of bikers box in a man who was driving with his wife and infant daughter in their SUV. Apparently scared for his life, the driver takes off, runs over a couple of bikers, breaking one of their legs. But some of the bikers catch up with the driver later. They break his window, pull him out into the street, beat him and slashed him. He went to the hospital. He's expected to be okay. Tuesday morning, police arrested one biker responsible for causing the initial accident with the SUV. More arrests could be coming. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, Senator Rand Paul joins us for an exclusive interview. Who's willing to put what on the negotiating table now that the government has shut down? Plus, a daring rescue in the South China Sea, while the Chinese president is now calling for the military to step in after this typhoon.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. Yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. $5 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Welcome back. Rescue crews pulled 14 Chinese fishermen from their sinking boat during a typhoon this week. Their boat capsized in the South China Sea about 150 miles from land. But there are still more than 50 fishermen missing out there. Further rescue efforts have been hampered by a typhoon and its strong winds. China's President Xi Jinping has called for the military now to step in with the search. And so now that the government has shut down, who's going to put what on the bargaining table? Democrats say they've already agreed to lower spending levels, and Republicans remain entrenched as well. Earlier, Newsmax TV talked to Senator Rand Paul, a man many people are looking to for leadership in this shutdown. Senator Paul says the GOP remains committed to changing Obamacare as much as it can.
I'd just soon get rid of the whole thing, but if we can't get rid of the whole thing, I think we ought to do everything we can to make it less bad.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for October 1st. I'm John Bachman. For more exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax TV and Newsmax.com.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies, and...
So in that context, I'll work with anybody who's got a serious idea to make the Affordable Care Act work better. I've said that repeatedly. But as long as I am president, I will not give in to reckless demands by some in the Republican Party to deny affordable health insurance to millions of hardworking Americans.
All right. So I stepped on the president. Or did he step on me? He actually stepped on me. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen. We turn our attention to the ongoing government shutdown. And joining us right now is the former chief speechwriter for George W. Bush, who was a columnist at the Washington Post. Mark Thiessen joins us. Hey, Mark. Let's try that again. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Hey, Gay, how are you, my friend? Good to talk to you.
Absolutely, good to talk to you.
You know, we're just, I wonder if the government shutdown will have any effect on the upcoming start of the NHL season. You see, Mark is a huge Rangers fan. I'm a huge Devils fan, and we always have this ongoing little thing between us. But I think that's pretty safe. Although Michelle Obama almost closed down her Twitter account today, I guess her staff of, 23? She needs one of them to tweet?
I guess so. And she's not willing to have the interns do it for her.
Right. All right, so you wrote a brilliant piece in the Washington Post yesterday, and the title of it was "The GOP Flunks Hostage-Taking 101." To put that in context a little, let's let the folks hear cut number 5 from Bill Maher.
Led by the Tea Party, really, I think, are holding hostage, and I don't say that in a snarky way. I've heard them use that phrase themselves. I've heard Mitch McConnell say that. Holding hostage both the government, they are threatening to shut that down, and the world economy if they don't vote for the debt ceiling increase, because they have this coke addict's obsession with repealing Obamacare.
All right, so there's typical Bill Maher, but I wanted to get the hostage in there. All right, you say basically the Republicans blew it because they picked the wrong battle.
Yeah, they selected the wrong hostage. I mean, look, I'm all for hostage taking. I think both sides do it. Democrats do it. Republicans do it on Capitol Hill. They hold up a nominee unless they get what they want, or they hold up some bill unless they get vote on something. So this happens all the time in Washington. So all this talk about hostage taking like it's something unusual is ridiculous. But you have to take the right hostage. And so hostage taking 101 teaches that you have to take a hostage the other side cares about saving, right? So when the Republicans say that, if you don't repeal Obamacare, or if you don't defund Obamacare, or you don't give us a one-year delay of Obamacare, or else we'll shut the government down, the Democrats don't care. In fact, they want a government shutdown. They are where they want to. I mean, you just look at where Obama was this weekend. He played 4 hours of golf. Harry Reid shut down the Senate. Nancy Pelosi took off for a romantic weekend for her 50th wedding anniversary. This is not a party in panic, all right? So you have to pick a hostage that the other side wants to save. And so what the Republicans are doing right now is basically they've taken a gun, put it to their own heads, and said, if you don't capitulate, we're going to pull the trigger. And the Democrats are saying, go ahead. I mean, this is just utter stupidity what's happening right now on Capitol Hill.
All right, so now let me play devil's advocate here for a second. So not devil's advocate. So you say, whereas Obama and Reid are in unison based on Obama's advice or order, say no, go ahead, pull the trigger. We're not even talking to you. You go play your own game, do what you want. Yeah. When it comes to the debt ceiling, Obama can't do that. You're saying because then the stakes are higher for him too.
That's the hostage we should be taking. That's the hostage that Speaker Boehner wanted to take. I mean, what Speaker Boehner wanted to do was pass a clean CR, continuing resolution, to fund the government for the next few weeks, and then have this fight over the debt limit. The Obama can and has allowed the government to shut down. And you saw him in the press conference today. He's attacking the Republicans and blaming them and fighting the PR war. He cannot allow the U.S. government to default, because the consequences of default would be so catastrophic. His own Treasury Secretary, I mean, we had this debt limit fight in 2011, okay? And the Republicans passed a tough bill, and then they backed off of it. And Bob Woodward, in his book about the debt limit fight, actually reported after the fact that Timothy Geithner, the Treasury Secretary, had told Obama that he couldn't follow through, and reported after the fact that Timothy Geithner, the Treasury Secretary, had told Obama that he couldn't follow through on the guns, but they didn't. So the lesson from that ought to be, stick to your guns on the debt limit. Take whatever it is that you want to demand and put it on the debt limit, and then Obama can't pull the trigger. He has to capitulate. He has to compromise with you. So you have to take if you're going to take something hostage, if you're going to play this game, you have to take a hostage the other side cares about saving. Obama will not allow an economic crisis on the comparable to 2008, which is what Geithner said would happen if we defaulted, happen on his watch. He has to compromise. So we're sitting here right now. How do you think this is going to end?
That was my next question to you.
They're going to capitulate. The Republic. It's just a question. I mean, they might as well.
Was my next question to you.
They're going to capitulate. The Republic. It's just a question. I mean, they might as well have a 1-year delay of Obamacare. Then they 1 year delay on the individual mandate. Now they've got the Vitter thing about the congressional subsidies. I mean, they've come down to nothing. So what are they arguing? Why are we doing this? This is just utter strategic stupidity. What we're doing right now.
All right. Let's say they come up with some. Maybe they hire a.
Utter strategic stupidity. What we're doing right now.
All right. Let's say they come up with some. Maybe they hire a speech that's he considers palatable. Of course, if it was your speech, it would be much more than palatable. It would be appetizing. And he gives it and says, "Okay, look, too many people are getting hurt here." Or whatever. I don't even know what he could say. Maybe you tell me what he could say. But then, if they stop it in the next day or so, can they then regroup and fight the battle? And as you say, take the hostage for the debt ceiling.
Probably not. And the reason is that they blew it, okay? So, for example, what I would have advocated, probably not. And the reason is that they blew it, okay? So, for example, what I would have advocated is the Democrats were in control of the Senate. That was a non-starter. The whole defund Obamacare fund the Democrats were in control of the Senate. That was a non-starter. The whole defund Obamacare fund, waste of our time, and put us in a very, very bad position. So what we should have done is passed a clean continuing resolution and then gone on the debt ceiling fight and demanded a 1-year delay in Obamacare. Okay, which would have seemed reasonable to most Americans because everybody knows the implementation of the thing. This thing is not ready for prime time, even if you thought it was good. The unions are calling for a delay. I mean, the Obama administration has delayed part if you thought it was good. The unions are calling for a delay. I mean, the Obama administration has delayed part. And but the problem is what they did was they took that 1-year delay and put it on the CR. And they sent it to the Senate, and the Senate voted no. So all the Democrats are now on record voting against it.
Right.
So they're not going to vote for it. They're not going to turn around and vote for it in a few weeks. So they blew that.
All right, now let me ask.
I mean, when you fire your ammunition on the CR, you can't go back and then reload it onto the debt ceiling. It just doesn't work that way on Capitol Hill. So they've wasted all their ammunition on these stupid, unwinnable fights when they should have been putting this all on the debt ceiling to begin with.
We're talking to Mark Thiessen, a former chief speechwriter for George W. Bush and columnist at the Washington Post here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, let me play devil's advocate for a second. I mean, you say that, and everything is fair. Geithner, what he said the first time around. But now we're a president with, in my view, with nothing to lose anymore, and who still, I believe, fundamentally despises the principles of this country stands on. So what if it came down to the debt ceiling, and Obama said, "I'm not budgeting on the debt ceiling"? Let the Republicans, if you think that if you
be in the position we're in now.
What's that? Say that again. Say that again.
He would be in the position we're in now, which is eventually he would have to capitulate, because let's say we passed the debt ceiling date, and he didn't agree to whatever the Republicans were demanding at that point. Then a clock starts ticking. Then what happens is the Treasury Department has to say it didn't agree to whatever the Republicans were demanding at that point. Then a clock starts ticking. Then what happens is the Treasury Department has to say
same thing as now, but only worse, because everyone would feel it. Yeah,
he can go on forever right now with the government shutdown. There's no long-term economic impact to a government shutdown. In fact, the American Enterprise Institute, my home base, actually has shown that every past government shutdown, the S&P has actually gone up. During home base, actually has shown that every past government shutdown, the S&P has actually gone up during to a default. So he can't afford to preside over that kind of an economic crisis as president, because regardless of whose fault it is, it's his presidency, it's his economy. And he can't let that happen on his watch. He's not going to let that happen on his watch. So he has to negotiate. And then on top of that, let that happen on his watch. He's not going to let that happen on his watch. So he has to negotiate. And then on top of that,
right.
And let's work out all these problems. Your own unions have said a year delay. Have said it's not ready for prime year.
Right.
And let's work out all these problems. Your own unions have said a year delay. Have said it's not ready for prime. And let the American people speak in the midterm elections. And then he's the one who seems unreasonable. Right now, we seem unreasonable. And he's going to let this go on as long as we'll let it go on, because this is manna from PR manna from heaven for him. We have just we're sitting there with a gun to our heads and saying, pull the trigger. I dare you to pull the trigger. And we're sitting there with a gun to our heads and saying, pull the trigger. I dare you to pull the trigger.
Chicago White Sox player. By name. And if he can't come up with that name, then the Republicans win. If he can name one White Sox player, then he wins. Because, I don't even know what else. Or at least the correct name of the Miami Heat, not the Miami Heats. Or, Comiskey Park, not Kaminsky Field. Just one of those things they should quiz him on. Anyway, how do you think the Rangers are going to do this year?
Well, we'll see. We got Alain Vigneault as our new coach, and maybe he'll unleash Rick Nash and Brad Richards and all of them to use their offensive power. I mean, it will be exciting, much more exciting hockey, regardless.
And you know who we lost, Kovalchuk, who
I know, but you got Jaromir Jagr.
I was just going to say, is it Jaromir Jagr?
Jaromir Jagr.
What's he, as old as me? Is he as old as me now? Or oh boy!
He's better at his age than you ever were in your prime.
That's absolutely true. All right, listen, Mark, thank you. We'll speak to you soon. I appreciate your time, sir.
Take care, Steve.
Bye-bye. Mark Thiessen, ladies and gentlemen, former chief speechwriter for George W. Bush and the columnist at the Washington Post and American Enterprise Institute is his home base, as he mentioned. So I don't know. We got some calls, so I'm going to break now. We'll come back. People have been waiting a long time. And if you want to weigh in on, to me, really, everything Mark says could be correct about the debt ceiling and how the president just can't have it happen. Historically, he cannot let the country default because it would be viewed on his. I don't think he cares about history. I don't think he cares about anything but changing America. And you know what? A dose of default, in my opinion, a dose of default might serve all of us greedy, rich, arrogant Americans right. It'll bring us down. It'll lower our standard of living for years to come. It'll cause chaos. And he's a disciple of Saul Alinsky. Some chaos is very good, according to Saul Alinsky. I don't think he would say, oh, my God, I don't think he'd pull the hair out of his head saying, I can't let the debt ceiling not be risen. I got to give in. I got to compromise. I can't see that happening. I don't think that's who Barack Obama is. I think he'll say, well, now the Republicans are not going to raise the debt ceiling, and he already said he won't negotiate the debt ceiling, and I believe him. This is the one time I believe him. What could I say? 855-777-9660, 855-0000. Michelle Obama tweets out. Yeah, Michelle Obama tweeted it out. Now we know who tweets it out, and it's not Michelle Obama. The account will have limited activity due to the government shutdown. Why? Michelle can't tweet? Because Michelle doesn't tweet. Wake up, America. 855-777-9660 on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, SoCSecurity311.com. You will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SoCSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SoCSecurity311.com. SoCSecurity311.com.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the Stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the
25 years. I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my 25 years. I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my
Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2960.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2960.
The shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, you know, this hypochondriac thingamajig. I am on antibiotics as we speak. All right, so much for hypochondriacal tendencies. I got real illness, my friends. All right, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's get to the phones, 855-777-9660. Kathy in New York has been waiting, I think, since the last government shutdown in 1995. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Thanks for calling.
I got back from Israel 2 months ago. Steve, I love you. Listen, Mark Thiessen, I don't trust. He's a liberal. All he does is trash Republicans on CNN and the Sunday shows, and we're sick of it. You know, you never see any Democrat trash another Democrat. But I want to say that, so I don't trust him, Mark Thiessen.
Well, I don't trust him because he's a Rangers fan. I mean, if there's reason not to trust him, it's because he's a Rangers fan.
But as far as this shutdown, this is the Democrat. They've got to start changing the narrative. The Republicans have to use the word fairness. Fairness, meaning that it's unfair for Obama to have over 1,400 of his friends' companies, wealthy corporate, having exemptions.
Right.
The Congress and unions. Republicans have to use fairness, go on emotions, and we're only asking for fairness that everybody go on Obamacare or not. And what was I going to say? And there were all these waivers. I mean, there is no. How could any Mark Thiessen attack Republicans for this?
Well, he was just saying they should have done this, ask for what they're
do it
asking
now.
for, but do it for the debt ceiling because his reasoning is that, as he said, that they would have had more leverage, because he doesn't think Obama could ever afford to not raise the debt ceiling, and he would have done what they wanted.
Well, okay.
I disagree. I think Obama would love a good
But you gotta start. Republicans start using emotions. Fairness. Remember, we heard fair. You got to pay your fair.
I know. Yeah, everything's fair. It's not fair. I know.
It's not fair. No, you've got to. The Republicans, and this is a shutdown. The narrative by the Democrats, Harry Reid, the do-nothing Senate. Democrat Harry Reid and Obama, but this Mark Thiessen.
All right, stop attacking Mark. I don't consider him a rhino at all. He might be a more moderate Republican. People like Avalon, of the Daily Beast, who's always on CNN, he's a rhino. As a matter of fact, every so-called Republican on CNN except Newt is a rhino. So I know what you're saying, but listen, I appreciate you hanging on, Kathy. Dave, real quick, I'm sorry, but I want to get to you. So you got 30 seconds. Go. Well, maybe we don't have Dave. Dave, put him on hold. We'll get to him in the final segment of the show. We'll take some more calls. 855-777-9660. When we come back, winning and losing. Are you sick? Do you have kids? Have you taken them through Little League and sports, and do they get stickers home from school, condemnations because they went to the bathroom, because they ate their lunch, because they did their homework, because they breathe and live? Winning and losing. And we'll talk about that and rewards for kids even when they don't do anything, and nobody wins, nobody loses in sports. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real hold-in-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54. With a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen. You know, nothing burns me more, or burned me more, than when my own son, who turns 14 tomorrow, started playing, I guess, T-ball and all that, and even up to the next level or the one after that. Everybody got to run the bases. Everybody got to be at bat. Nobody got out, and nobody won, and no score was kept. And I'm like, what? Because my son, you know, first of all, he's pretty good. And secondly, what? Because, you know, when I was a kid, it was all about playing sports and winning and losing and trying harder next time if you don't succeed. And but they've changed everything, and they've changed it for the worse. Joining me now to talk about all of this is the co-author of a New York Times bestseller. In fact, she's a New York Times bestselling author before this book. It's called Top Dog: The Science of Winning and Losing. And we welcome in Ashley Merriman. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I saw your piece actually in the New York Times op-ed section last week, and I said I have to talk to this woman because it's so rare these days that, especially in the New York Times, you'd see something with your point of view on this kind of an issue. But it is so. Not only is it sickening to a layman like me, but the studies show that this attempt to just placate kids and tell them how great they are and give them all trophies doesn't work. It doesn't have the desired effect, does it?
No, actually it backfires. And we're not even just talking about trophies. We're talking about, you know, constantly telling your kid you're so wonderful, you're so smart, you're so talented, giving them certificates.
Well, how about when they strike out? And unfortunately, this happens even to this day, even in the competitive level. When they strike out, it's like, hey, good swing, nice swing, way to go. I mean, like, come on, you struck out. The guy struck out.
Well, you know, for kids, first of all, you know, it's not that everything needs to be a competition. It's about timing. And we need to give kids who are just learning time to screw up and focus on progress and not the end result, and giving them time for that improvement. Yelling, hey, that was great, when the kid struck out might backfire because that may actually come off as sarcastic. Right? That's what you razz a kid and you embarrass them.
Right,
and
right.
And kids aren't being fooled by this false praise. You know, by
how does it backfire on young kids, for instance?
Well, by the age of 4 or 5, they know. Even if the team didn't keep score, you can ask the kids. They know who did what, right? And they'll tell you. So this constant praise, the research actually indicates that kids become too invested in it. They love it until they struggle, but then they can't succeed and they don't know what to do. So kids have told researchers they're more likely to cheat than to risk losing. And in fact, I've even been getting emails from people this week, college professors telling me that their students had cheated on an exam because they thought failing would disappoint the teacher and the teacher would rather they cheat.
Oh gosh. And that could be traced back, you think, to the nobody wins, nobody loses situations?
Well, again, I think the idea is that it's supposed to reduce the stakes. But I think it actually may heighten the stakes because it's telling kids you always have to succeed. There is no such thing as failure. Here's a trophy. And in lab studies have to succeed. There is no such thing as failure. Here's a trophy. And in lab stuff, kids, oh, you're such a great artist, you're so talented. The kids stared at their mistakes twice as much, and they stared at other people's mistakes twice as much.
So they know. They know.
And they're being more upset and
Yeah.
looking for those pieces of evidence that prove you're wrong, and then you become untrustworthy. They can't ask you, can I get some help here? Because the answer is no, you're wonderful. Here's a trophy.
Yeah, it's insane. And we're talking to Ashley Merriman, co-author of Top Dog, The Science of Winning and Losing. She had a great op-ed in the New York Times last week here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And sticking to kids for a second before I get to adults, it goes beyond just on the field, in the classroom, in kindergarten, even beyond kindergarten. I recall my kid, getting stickers. You get a sticker if you do your homework. And if you get 5 stickers, you get a points you get a candy or something. I mean, things that you should be expected to do as a student, you get rewarded for or acknowledged for, and I think that sends the wrong message also.
I found a trophy dealer website which was giving advice to trophy dealers who have seasonal business, and they said, well, you should encourage teachers to do more academic trophies, and during the summer pitch to parents that they should buy trophies when their kids read books.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's like paying kids to do homework or paying them to read a book. I've heard of that, too.
Yeah, and the research says most of that's terrible. It works as long as you continue the trophies, and the money has to be bigger, right? If it's $5 when he's 8, it better be $25 when he's in high school, and it's a car when he's in college.
Yeah,
you have to keep escalating the rewards all of the time, and it never gives kids the opportunity to say, hey, I want to learn to read because I like it. Because it's interesting. It's hard, but I can learn stuff.
Totally insane. Now, is this getting better, or is this because I'm removed from it a little bit because my son is, like I said, now turning 14 and plays travel and all this and all that, but is it getting better, or is it worse?
Well, I don't think there's any evidence it's getting better. I think that the only times I've seen anybody, like a soccer organization, say we're going to do less participation trophies, less trophies, is because of a budget cut. And in every instance I've seen that, the parents have completely lost it, and they either increase participation rates, they have separate fundraisers just for the trophies. I saw one little league that asked its parents, what do you want to do, have an entire full schedule of games or give all the trophies?
Oh, boy.
That was the choice the parents were making.
Yeah,
Play more games or give more trophies.
Oh, man. It is sick. But let me take it to the next level, or maybe several levels forward, if you will. Winning and losing. Can you apply any of this to what's going on today in Washington with the stalemate, the budget shutdown? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how closely you've analyzed what's going on, I have an axe to grind. But just so you know where I'm coming from, we have a president who's the leader, who usually pulls people together who have differences, and he has the same differences as the Democrats do with the Republicans. Yet, taking this stance, I will not negotiate. You got to do it this way, and I will not talk to, calling them terrorists and bomb makers and hostage takers and all that when there should be negotiations going on. Is that indicative of narcissism? Is that indicative of a guy who always wins, or what? Can you apply it? Yeah, go ahead.
Let me flip it back the other way, because you could easily say that in both sides, for a long time, whether it's been Democrats or Republicans in Congress, the White House, the answer has been, I must win every single vote. I must win every single ballot issue, press conference, whatever. And right now, you could argue what you just argued, but I think you could also say, hey, the Congress lost the election. Obamacare was voted as a law. Supreme Court voted for it. You guys lost this one. Move on. Where are you going to go next? And I think that's the problem. And I think right now that's the anger right now in the American public, no matter what partisan view you have, which is, hey, haven't we had this argument nonstop and we're not making any progress? Do it differently. And that's the problem, I think, right now with White House and the problem right now with Congress, which is it's always a zero-sum game. And the reality for the American people is it's not a zero-sum game. There are moves. You've got to be able to say, okay, we lost this election or we lost that vote. What's next? Rather than, I'm an attorney actually, so it's about relitigating the same issue.
Well, then I could just say to you, and I don't want to get political with you, but of course the fact of the matter is that well, then I could just say to you, and I don't want to get political with you, but of course the fact of the matter is that back when healthcare passed, instead of the 60 usually needed for something of that magnitude, the not one single Republican voted for it. In 2012 presidential election, Obama did win, but I don't recall him running on health care as a central issue. But having said that, the Republicans won the House. They won like 35 seats in the House in that midterm election, running against Obamacare. So they get a say as well. And the Republicans are not looking any longer to defund Obamacare. They simply want the Congress not to get subsidies to help pay the premiums, and they simply want to do away with the tax on health devices. So they're not looking, and they want to postpone it for a year. So
my point is that the Republican House has brought defunding Obamacare up as a vote dozens of times in the past 2 years.
Right.
You don't even need to talk about the election. Every time it never works, right?
Well, it doesn't. The Senate won't vote on it. Yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. At some point, that's not a win. And rather than trying to do other issues, other progress, that's not a win. And rather than trying to do other issues, other progress, we can't give up on one thing, and that one thing means we stop all progress on any other issue. And I absolutely think that is the problem. We can't look at every vote, every issue as a zero-sum game.
All right,
We've got to look past it.
Fair enough. I'd love to debate this with you more, but this is not the forum or not the guest to do it with. So I'm controlling myself. But anyway, I really appreciate you coming. I think you're right on target with your book and your premise and controlling myself. But anyway, I really appreciate you coming. I think you're right on target with your book and your premise. And New York Times pieces says it best. As children return to school this fall and sign up for New Year's worth of extracurricular activities, parents should keep one question in mind. Whether your kid loves Little League or gymnastics, ask the program organizers this: which kid gets awards? If the answer is everybody gets a trophy, find another program. I think that's how your piece started, and I think it was wonderful. The book is Top Dog: The Science of Winning and Losing by Ashley Merriman and her co-author Poe Bronson. Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Okay, it's Ashley Merriman, ladies and gentlemen. No, I think I think she's right on target with the issue at hand here. Kids are getting rewarded for everything they do right and everything they do wrong, and it's just dumbing us down. And what's our future going to hold if kids grow up thinking, it doesn't matter who wins or loses, it doesn't matter if I do right or wrong, I'm going to be patted on the back. All right, then there's Chad, who's the producer of the show, who's never patted on the back. And, anyway. All right, we've seen where that has gotten us. 855-777-9660. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
And Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention anyone with diabetes or pre-diabetes. A special website has been created just for you at the free website 99reverse.com. We reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan, exactly as found at 99reverse.com, have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medications with their doctor's astounded approval. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't get this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now today that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now while this revolutionary video is still available online for free. People who have followed this plan have not only normalized their blood sugar, but stopped taking their diabetes medication. That's 99reverse.com. 99reverse.com.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you. Senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Contempt handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history. Buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for the special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, some stories to tell you about that you might not have heard about because we haven't talked about them. But I want to go to the phones first at 855-777-9660 and say hello to Dave. Hello, Dave. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Steve. Good afternoon.
And same to you, sir. You're calling from Colorado, I see.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Hey, listen, Steve, I don't know what's going on. It must be amateur hour in Washington, D.C. I wanted to comment first on Obama's 15-minute phone call to fame. It just absolutely amazes me that he can have a 15-minute conversation with a man who refused to shake his hand days before and announce to the world that he's going to resolve the Iranian problem. It just is beyond real to me.
And a man who was probably instrumental in the Khobar Towers bombing, in the slaughter of the Argentinian Jews at the Jewish Center in Buenos Aires, and other terrorist acts as well. A supporter of Hezbollah. This is the guy he's bragging about meeting with and talking with. But John Boehner, he says, "I'm not going to talk to you," and hangs up the phone basically.
Yeah, I mean, they're not throwing Israel under the bus. They're throwing the bus on Israel.
That's a good way to put it. Very good way to put it.
Absolutely ridiculous. Secondly, he talked about the fatwa. I think that might have been a translation error. I think it was fupa. But at any rate, Ashley had mentioned, that the Republicans should have just given up on this whole argument, and that may be true on a 2-cent toilet paper tax, but I think we're talking about a huge piece of the American GDP and something that probably will never be reversed. And I say right on to Senator Cruz for his diligence and his perseverance in getting the message out to the American people that there's a dysfunction in Washington that is absolutely scary. And I think he did that at great personal cost.
All right, listen, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate you weighing in and checking in. He's right. He's right. He's right on target. Right on target. It's just mind-boggling that a president could do what this president has done. Okay, couple of things here. First of all, in the New Jersey Senate race for the U.S. Senate seat, not made possible. That doesn't sound right, and not vacated. That doesn't sound right. But this special election being held because of the death of Senator Frank Lautenberg and the refusal of Governor Chris Christie to appoint a true Republican to that seat. Could have had him in there till the end of next year. National Review Online polling shows that Newark Mayor Cory Booker, the Democrat, is now leading by just 6 points, 48 to 42%. A Quinnipiac poll released last week showed Booker leading by 12 points, and the first poll conducted before that showed Booker with a 20-point lead. So it's 20 to 12 to 6. And these are the latest internals. Booker is 37-27 net favorable. He was 42-18 2 weeks ago, according to the internals from the Lonergan campaign. So we'll see what happens. But Booker, if this were funny thing the other day, Booker was in Hollywood, raising money from the loony Hollywood left. And so Steve Lonergan had a town hall event where he put the red carpet out for the average citizens to walk on. He said, if Cory Booker's in Los Angeles walking on a red carpet, we'll have, in L.A., we'll have a red carpet here in New Jersey. Anyway, okay. Now, here's a terrible story, folks. Police say that 4 people, including a little toddler, were slashed or stabbed on a bike path near the Hudson River here in New York City. Slashed or stabbed on a bike path near the Hudson River here in New York City. Scissor. Hey, Pierce Morgan, it wasn't a gun. Half a scissor, stabbed her in the back. Last I heard, she was having surgery. Then he moved on, and he assaulted a father who was pushing a toddler in a stroller. The father's trying to defend the toddler. He stabs the father and stabs the toddler, or slashes the toddler. And then there was one more that he got. So just a terrible story. And this comes on the heels of that road rage story where you saw the motorcyclists surround a car, force it to stop on the road. Similar area in New York City. And motorcyclists surround a car, force it to stop on the road. Similar area in New York City, and earlier run over one or more of the motorcyclists. So that story is still unfolding as to, what the sequence of events were. But just bad stories. And here's a story. She is not. Is that person waiting to talk or not? I can't. No. Okay. According to a story here on Newsmax, public opinion polls likely understate opposition to same-sex marriage. Well, it's not according to Newsmax. They wrote the story, but it's according to American Politics Research. It's a November issue. It's a journal. American Politics Research. American Politics Research. It's a November issue. It's a journal. American Politics Research may come into play with many people answering polling questions in support for same-sex marriage, skewing the results of pre-election studies in favor of the issue. So in other words, they say by 5 to 7% when they ask people before this goes to the ballot, do you favor gay marriage or are you against it? Do you favor this proposition or are you against it? 5 to 7% of the respondents may, because they feel it's the question it's the answer they should be giving, or as it's put here, social desirability bias comes into play. They'll say, oh, yeah, I'm for gay marriage, I'm going to vote for it. But then when they get into the polling booth and they pull the curtain, they don't. I'm sure there are other issues that this affects that way too. But this is something very, very interesting. A Gallup poll, the first since the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the Defense of Marriage Act, released in July, found 52% of Americans in 50 states backed a law supporting gay marriage. 43% said they would vote against it. So if Powell's research is correct, if the research done by this study group is correct, a University of Maine professor, then it's more even. It could be more even than 50 to 43. We shall see. We shall see how it all pans out. Folks, day one of the shutdown in the books, day one of my antibiotics in the system, and we'll keep you abreast of both of these developments. God willing, tomorrow on, I can't believe, the Wednesday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. Hope you'll join us right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.